Good twists are becoming an infinitely rare commodity. Anyone can write a twist, you just need to do something unexpected. And even then, sometimes it's still predictable. A good twist will make previous events make sense in a way that you might have been able to predict if you'd follow the clues. And even if you hadn't, you'll be able to look back on it and go, oh. A great twist, on the other hand, will make previous events even better on second viewing. And the reveal of the identity of the big bad wolf in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is definitely a great twist. This is your spoiler warning, by the way. The next sentence will spoil the movie. The introduction of Death works so well whether or not you know his identity. There are levels to how excellently the scene is constructed. It completely changes the tone and feel of the movie in a way you'd never see coming, and only gets better on the second viewing. For one thing, it works simply as a scene in and of itself. When the movie starts, we follow Puss having fun and partying, his usual ever confident self. But then he dies.
I call this one, the legend will never die.
Don't worry, he gets better. Of course, being Puss in Boots, he shrugs off the fact that he's lost 8 of his 9 lives and is down to the last one. After all,
Puss in Boots laughs in the face of death.
But that's when reality hit him. And by reality, I mean a giant furry wolf. The wolf was already an intimidating character when Puss first met him. The design, the voice, the animation, the music, it was enough to get the audience thinking, this is gonna be different.
Everyone thinks they'll be the one to defeat me, but no one's escaped me yet.
The fight does a lot to make the wolf look as frightening and intimidating as possible, with his scythe blades and physical superiority, and the way his red eyes contrast the dark background in the small enclosed space of the bar. A stark difference from the brighter open battle against the earth monster earlier. But if I'm perfectly honest, that doesn't mean Puss couldn't have kept fighting. Facing him wasn't completely hopeless, but it was frightening because now death was on the table. And when Puss got the cuts and we saw the blood run down his face, that's the moment that it hit both him and the audience. This could be it. Puss could die, and there would be no coming back from that. And this completely changes the trajectory of the fight and film, because for the first time, Puss has to grapple with that idea. He was only able to laugh at death because he never truly had to face it. But now he runs, completely abandoning the fight in order to escape with his life. However, when you realize that death is the actual literal personification of death, the scene takes on a whole new meaning. Because when death suddenly appears next to Puss, it's no longer just a character who poses a great physical threat managing to sneak up on him. It's the literal specter of death showing up next to him now that he is no longer safe from the consequences of his actions. After all, this scene takes place directly after a doctor told him that he could die permanently if he died again. On a metaphysical level, the first fight between the two of them is Puss's first grapple with the idea of a permanent death, a real end to the legend. And when faced with having to continue the fight, he opts to do what he's always done: run from the consequences and run from death. It's so much easier to laugh at death when it isn't something you have to deal with at the moment.
Puss in Boots laughs in the face of death, right?
Puss never really valued his lives because he had so many of them, opting instead to fall into a persona as the legend, the unstoppable lone wolf. And the next time Puss tries to play into that hero persona as they escape Jack Horner, death suddenly appears, staring at him. A reminder in the back of his head that his life as a legend will always be threatened by his mortality. Like I said earlier, Puss could have kept fighting. You can't beat death, but you shouldn't run from it either. Because as we see throughout the movie, death will always be able to follow, and if you're not prepared for it, it will always blindside and terrify you. Puss was so married to the idea he was an unstoppable towering legend, he didn't value anything in his lives, wasting 8 of them on bouts of hedonism and pride, never internalizing the possibility of the end until it was right upon him. An attitude that made the very concept of death decide to end his life prematurely because there would be no value lost. This is the lesson Puss had to learn before he was able to actually fight the specter that haunted him. Once he accepted he had to face death head on, knowing and accepting that he could die, the wolf lost all motivation to continue hunting him. Death was a great antagonist, and the reveal of his identity only made everything about him so much better without detracting from anything that came before. More twists need to be like this. They need to be entertaining before the reveal, and the reveal needs to improve what we saw beforehand and be an important factor in the resolution of the story. The wolf was introduced as a challenge to make Puss recognize his weakness and drive the narrative of the story forward as he searches for what he wants while discovering what he needs. And his reveal of being death only makes that introduction so much stronger and more worthwhile. And it's because of this, the masterful way the animation, the voice acting, the music and the story all come together in the execution of this twist that makes the wolf's introduction into the story such a perfect scene. But honestly, this whole movie is pretty amazing, which is more than you'd expect one would say about Puss in Boots 2. And I have some more things I'd actually like to say about this, preferably in a video more dedicated to thoroughly dissecting the themes of this movie. And you should subscribe so you're notified of when that video comes out. Until then, don't forget to hit the like button, leave your thoughts on the movie and this video down in the comment section, and check out my channel for more content. Thank you and good day.